I told myself I can no longer ignore this girl, and I feel like at that point she stopped being a dark horse for me, but she became clearly a threat within this competition, because although a lot of people were still overlooking her at that point, she was definitely bringing something special to the table. Hello everyone, welcome once again to my channel. My name is Portelles, and for today's video we have a very special video because we're going to be talking about some of the dark horses of the competition so far for Miss Universe Philippines 2021. Now, as you guys know, this year was a little particular in the sense that we had 100 candidates that had to compete through different challenges to make it into the official top 30 that will then compete for the crown of Miss Universe Philippines. However, this entire process of going from top 100 to top 30 was pretty much fan voted, meaning that popularity and following on social media was extremely important for these ladies to be able to make it. Now, having that said, not everything was determined by fan voting, especially if you think of the interview challenge, where the judges and the members of the organization had some power of decision when it comes to selecting the candidates who actually made the top list. Because of this very particular dynamic, now we have a very diverse group of candidates for the top 30. Some of them are considered to be veterans, some of them are considered to come from show business, from social media, and some of them are pretty much just like fresh faces. Candidates who have no experience in pageantry, or candidates who maybe have experience in pageantry but don't have as much of a following. It's a very particular context. So for this video precisely, I wanted to sit down with you guys and talk about some of the candidates that in my opinion are considered to be dark horses within this competition, but they could surprise us, and I believe that they have what it takes to go even beyond our expectations, and who knows, even maybe get the crown. The reason for this video is because sometimes I feel like we get stuck, myself included, in naming a few candidates that we believe have a lot of potential, and then we actually forget that there are 30 ladies competing for this title, and everyone is trying their best to get it. Everyone is, putting everything they have into this competition. So let's talk about some of the candidates that in my opinion are a little bit more deserving. The only thing that I'm gonna ask from you as usual is that you leave a like on this video so that it gets recommended to more people. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one almost every single day. And last but not least, let me know in the comment section if you agree with my dark horses, and also if you agree with the feedback that I'm providing. Even if you don't, go ahead and express yourself in the comments respectfully. Alright my friends, so without further ado, let's get into today's video. I really hope that you enjoy it.
Be strong.
And on that note, let's start talking about the first candidate, which is Jasmine Umali, who is currently representing for Manila. In my opinion, Umali is one of the biggest dark horses in this competition because she has the entire package. Not only her beauty is just outstanding, like this woman is beautiful, but also she is very smart and she has a personality. I feel like being beautiful and smart is kind of a dangerous mix sometimes because that could potentially boost their egos. However, Umali is really down to earth. She is a funny girl. She has a wicked sense of humor, and I just love her for that. Another thing with Umali is that since the beginning of the competition, she has been extremely consistent throughout every single challenge. It doesn't matter which one she did. She didn't win any of the challenges, nor won any of the topics that were released by the organization. However, in my opinion, it is because she is new to the pageant scene. She doesn't have as much of a following just yet. However, I believe that in the very short period of time that she was exposed to pageant fans, she has been able to create a name for herself, and there's quite a few people rooting for her as of right now. So to me, that proves that there is a lot of potential in this girl. Another thing that I really like about her is that she is what I call a free spirit. Jasmine is an artist at heart, so whenever you get to know her, I had the chance to interview her on my channel. By the way, if you haven't watched it, go and watch that video. But she is just like so down to earth, so chill. Honestly, it's like you're just talking to a friend. She has like some background in fashion and design, but then she also writes poems, which makes her automatically like a very creative person, very sensitive, very in touch with her emotions, and that's a beautiful thing to have as a beauty queen, because you need to be able to touch people and you need to know how to approach them. So when you listen to all of those things that I'm telling you, it's very easy to create a picture of Jasmine where she's like this beautiful, perfect lady that has everything, figured out in life. However, it's important to highlight the fact that Jasmine has been through a lot of hardships in her lifetime, suffering from depression and even sometimes having dark ideas. This is something that she struggled with precisely during her teen years, and as of right now, luckily she has been able to overcome it. However, she has a story to tell. She has that potential to understand the struggle that some people are going through, and also to help them, to provide information and maybe become a role model for those who are still in this position. What I appreciate the most is that she talks about these things openly without being biased, without trying to hide anything to make herself look good. She is unapologetically herself, and although she doesn't have the biggest following, although she doesn't have the most experience in this competition, you cannot take away the physical attributes, the mental attributes, and the personality that this woman has. Next one on the list, we have Mirhani Polito, and in my opinion, Mirhani is one of the girls who really had to build a name for herself. I mean, personally, I was not familiar with her at all when the competition started, and to me, she is the original dark horse of the competition, because I remember as the first few challenges were coming out, I think that she didn't make my top picks for like the glam shots, and I remember some fans messaging me on Instagram. They were like so upset because I didn't include her, and this is when I realized that okay, there's actually buzz about this candidate. People care, people are starting to notice her, although she might not have the biggest name out there or the biggest following just yet. But she was doing something right because people were rooting for her. And I remember that right after that, I looked a little bit through her social media, some of her photos, and the first thing that came to mind is that she comes across as being very genuine, very truthful, very unapologetically Filipina. She has that typical Filipina look and vibe that I appreciate, and that sometimes pageant bloggers and even fans want to see more often. It wasn't until her introduction challenge that then she was undeniably on my radar. I remember that I was impressed by her communication skills and the way that she presented herself. There was something about her aura that she was just like so confident. She felt so mature, so grown up, although she's super young. So I like that she had that character because, you know, with the type of pressure that Miss Universe Philippines had to deal with, this is like mandatory at this point. In my opinion, her runway challenge was one of the highlights of the entire competition. I loved everything about that video, from the way that she handled herself, to the walk, to the technique, to the videography, to every single aspect of that video was perfect. And that's when I told myself I can no longer ignore this girl. And I feel like at that point she stopped being a dark horse for me, but she became clearly a threat within this competition, because although a lot of people were still overlooking her at that point, she was definitely bringing something special to the table, and that other candidates might have been lacking at that point. And I remember more recently when the top 30 was announced, there was a video that was posted on TikTok of Mirhan reacting to her announcement of making it officially into the top 30, and she was just so happy, so moved, so many emotions. She was crying, she was on the floor with her entire team surrounding her, and that just made me realize how much this girl really wants this. So when I see this type of passion and this type of commitment and a girl who is giving her 150%, I cannot help it but to root for her, because obviously we know that this is her dream, just like it is for all of the 30 candidates. However, I see the hard work that she's putting towards this, so hopefully we'll see more from Mirhani in the future. Next one on the list, we have Christelle Abeleo, and let me explain myself, because I know a lot of people are gonna tell me, Louis, Christelle is very well known, she's a fan favorite, and she has some following, which is true, but within this competition so far, I feel like Christelle, it's almost on the dark horse side of things. So let me explain. Since the beginning, Christelle has been doing well. She even made some of the lists when the fan vote thing was going on, but to a certain extent, I still feel like she is not getting enough recognition. Especially for someone who has already been through this entire pageant once, who already lived this experience, you would believe that Christelle will have a little bit more support or a little bit more people rooting for her, which I'm not saying that she does not have, because she definitely does, but for what she is bringing to the table, I would expect people to notice her a little bit more and give her a little bit more credit as well. Last year, she made it to top 12 on Miss Universe Philippines. However, that's already a remarkable achievement. She was very vocal on social media of how disappointed she was, and also how this entire situation made her go through depression. But after she was able to gather herself a little bit, she decided to come back and try her luck one more time, because this is honestly her dream, what she wants to do out of her life. And here she is. We have what some vloggers have called Christelle 2.0, obviously with a new look, with a fresh attitude, fully energized. And I do believe that Christelle is really trying to the best of her ability this time around. Although when it comes to the fan votes and the following, she might not be the most popular candidate, I do believe that she will deliver on the technique side of things. And if she's able to make it to Q&A, she might really have a chance, because this girl is very eloquent, she's very sweet, she's very approachable, so you never know what she can bring. When it comes to the type of material that we have been presented from Christelle, I feel like it's very original so far. She has her very own touch, her very own brand. When everyone was trying to go with special effects and big productions, Christelle was keeping it fairly simple, minimalistic, and just focusing on herself. There were no distractions. You were always taken back to her and what she can deliver. And I believe that this is a strength, a girl who doesn't need like so many things around her to make herself look good. And also keep in mind that if the Miss Universe Philippines organization is looking for someone who will be able to deliver in December, Christelle might be a good choice, because not only she competed last year, but also she's been preparing ever since for this edition. So that's some experience and some credentials that you can never take away from her. So I'm excited to see what she's gonna do. I don't know about you. Next one on the list, we have Maria Corazon Avalos, or Corinne Avalos. This girl was the very first winner of a challenge for this year's edition of Miss Universe Philippines. Obviously, she got #1 for the headshot challenge, and this was remarkable because this was at the very beginning when fans were really most engaged, and think that she was going against like the titans of the competitions, the likes of Katrina, Laren, Steffi, Kisses, Ayin Bernos. Somehow she managed to just really conquer that category and get a #1 for herself. She also did very well throughout the rest of the challenges. On pretty much all of them, or almost, she was consistently within the top 10. And this is really remarkable, because I remember in the very beginning when all of the challenges were being dominated by the veterans and the celebrities, everyone, like the fans, the vloggers, everyone was complaining. However, Maria was consistently there. Right after the really popular candidates, she was next one. For me, someone who does not have as much of a following, if you look on her Instagram, she has 10,000 followers compared to the millions and hundreds of thousands that others have. She was still there and she was very consistent. Sometimes you have to think about these ways. It's not always about winning, but it's always about being consistent, about delivering. There's really no point in going with one candidate that for one challenge might give you excellent results, and then for the other ones is going to be inconsistent. So I believe that this girl is worthy of an opportunity, and I hope that she's able to deliver when it comes to the physical side of the pageant, like the runways and the swimsuit competition and the long gown and all of that, because I am really intrigued to see how she will do during Q&A, especially when put alongside the likes of, the big ones, the veterans. She is another one of the girls that we need to keep an eye on, because she is going somewhere, and I believe that she has what it takes to surprise us. We just have to be open to possibilities and just keep in mind that, we never know what their strategy looks like. Before I get into my very last pick for the dark horses of the competition so far, I'm gonna give 3 special mentions, meaning that these are candidates that I have really been keeping an eye on, and that I believe they have like a lot of qualities and they possibly have what it takes to get the crown. However, I decided to give the spotlight to another candidate because of her track record. But of course, for these 3 special shout outs, I'm talking first of all about Janella Joy Quaton. I believe that Janella is one of the girls who has a lot of pageantry experience, and a lot of people don't realize that. She has competed nationally and internationally alongside the likes of Amanda Upton from Miss Universe Thailand. She is a very sweet girl and has a lot of potential. So I feel like so far she has been doing very well in the competition, especially with the runway challenge. I will still like to see a little bit more support to Janella. She can deliver, but we'll see how it goes when it comes to the actual competition. Next shout out goes to Symone Bornelia, because this girl has just been a surprise and a breath of fresh air in this competition, in the sense that she has been so consistent from beginning to end, and she has been able to surprise us on every single challenge. If I'm being honest, I met her in the very early stages of the competition when we were still within the top 100, and she was so sweet, so down to earth, so open and humble. But I do remember thinking she is very young and we don't have time, from September to December, we don't have time to like train her and make sure that she is ready. However, she has exceeded my expectations in every single sense of the word when it comes to all of these challenges. I'm excited for her, and I am hoping nothing but the best for her. If she's able to make it and the organization is able to put aside, you know, the time restrictions and how young she is, I believe that she will be a very good and deserving queen. So we'll see what happens. The last shout out I wanted to give is for my girl Sam Santamaria, or Samantha Santamaria. Another one that does not have pageant experience. However, Sam is a fierce competitor. I know how important this competition is for her, and she has been putting a lot of work and a lot of effort to make it here. She was within the top 7 of the interview challenge, which in my opinion is one of the most difficult ones because it just requires a lot of, you know, self-control, being able to deal with anxiety, with your nerves, and you know, just provide like a meaningful answer while looking well put together. Sam has a very delicate and soft personality, but whenever she transforms into like the beauty queen, I feel like she can be extremely fierce, and she's definitely a beautiful girl. So I really hope to see her make it at least into the top 10 candidates. And yeah, and if for some reason this year is not her year, then I would love to see her compete again, because once again, this is just her first pageant, and we'll see. Worst case scenario, this might be like a learning experience. But okay, everyone, that's enough of me giving shout outs. I will get into the very last candidate that I believe was worthy of being on my list of dark horses for this competition, and of course I'm talking about Camille Alonzo. And I feel like this girl, pretty much like Maria Corazon, she was one of the girls who was doing very well since the beginning of the competition, in the sense that she wasn't as known and she didn't have as much of a following. However, if you look at the top picks for each one of the first challenges, she was consistently there. Something else that I learned about her as I was doing one of the interviews with other vloggers is that this girl actually is very well known in her locality. She is respected. She has created a name for herself within the pageantry community of her locality, but also as a model. So for me, these are things that are very important that we take into consideration, because that's very good experience that she could easily apply to this competition and surprises. Although a lot of people might not see it coming, and I know that we're focusing a lot on a very specific group of candidates, let's not forget that this is anyone's game and anything can happen. You never know who's gonna fall, who's gonna trip, who's going to forget the answers, who's gonna freak out. So from what I've been able to see, she is very consistent, very well put together. She is able to function under pressure and has a very witty personality, so I like her for that. Her communication skills are remarkable, and something that I noticed is that she has a very balanced personality, in the sense that she can be gentle and soft, but at the same time she knows how to stand for herself. I will always remember the time that she called me out because she didn't make my topics. So overall, I believe that she has been able to prove that she is well-rounded, that she has the experience, and that she has been consistent enough throughout this competition to really get the crown if given the opportunity. The decision belongs to the organization on whether or not they want to take the risk to go for a fresh new candidate rather than a veteran for this edition because of time restrictions. This is really sometimes what it boils down to, you know. I do see potential in a lot of the candidates, but sometimes I think about the preparation, the pressure, and the little time that they will have to do all of this. And this is when I feel like maybe this year really gonna be for one of the veterans, because there's no time to prepare. And the Miss Universe Philippines organization, being a fairly new organization, is not going to risk their name for the sake of going with a new candidate. But you never know. Let's see. Let's just put it out there into the universe and hope that all of these candidates who are so deserving might be able to make it as far as they want to make it. So that's pretty much it, you guys. That's my list for the dark horses of the competition so far, and the ones that I believe deserve a little bit more recognition from the audience. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with my picks, or even with the shout outs that I gave to Janella, Symone, and Sam. I will be reading your comments. Also, don't forget to leave a like on the videos that it gets recommended to more people. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one almost every single day. And last but not least, just come here and give me a hug, because that's a little tradition on the channel. You know that I love you, that I appreciate you. Thank you for coming and spending a few moments of every day here with me. And until I see you next time, please stay safe, be kind to one another, sending you all my love, all my kisses, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.